One. Welcome again to another episode of Awesome Walkers, where we speak to inspiring leaders who make a difference in the world that we live in. Today, we have someone whose name is so difficult for me to pronounce that I'm still wondering how do I say it? Benoit. The T is silent. Good
Yeah,
morning.
it's Benoit. Benoit Demeulemeester. Benoit stands for Benedict in French, and Demeulemeester stands for the Miller Master.
Hmm. And how have you been dealing with people who confuse or misspell your name all your life?
That's okay. That's okay. It's not common. When you live in an international world, I'm sure I misspelled many other names as well. So you have to be flexible.
Lovely. Tell us a little bit more of Ben. So repeat again,
Benoit.
Benoit. Benoit.
Benoit. Benoit. Yeah.
Benoit. So Benoit, tell our audience a little bit, a short introduction before we dive a lot deeper uh, about who is Benoit.
Was born in Switzerland, raised in Switzerland, speaks Swiss German. My mother speaks French only, so that was my second language. And I did my schools in Switzerland and then worked in London, Milan, Geneva, Zurich in the banking industry. Then had my own company for 14 years, which I sold. It was an asset management company. And the people who bought my company wanted me to open an office in Dubai, which I came to Dubai, and after 3 months, I told them I wouldn't do it, and they agreed for the reasons I gave them. And I said I'll stay here for a month on holiday because it was in January 2005, and yeah, I'm still here. So I started I started helping people in the banking industry to do a few projects. We helped open two banks. We opened in different departments in banks, and then I had a recruitment executive search company with offices in Singapore, Hong Kong, and Dubai for about 14 years. And when COVID hit, I closed everything. So COVID gave me a signal that you have to change something in your life, not knowing what to do. And I did ice baths during COVID for myself, and because we were closed down, the only people who could access my ice baths were my neighbors, and they loved it, and I saw the changes in them. Yeah, and 3.5 years later, we've done 5,500 people in the ice. We've helped people stand on sadu boards, go hike, go uh, done a lot of things. In October, we start fire walking. So completely changed from 35 years of in the banking industry into helping people to live a better life, to get rid of stress, get rid of anxiety, get rid of fear. We take them out of their comfort zone or enlarge their comfort zone, one or the other, and it's so gratifying. I've never had such a great time in my life than I have now, because you impact people at at a deep, very deep level, and we get thank you notes and letters and flowers and cakes and dates, and for thanking what we help them do themselves.
Beautiful.
Is that in
And
a is that a short that was a short
that,
introduction?
that's a great one. And I was stuck at 2005, and from 2005, I've not moved on. I'm thinking back in 2005, what made you stay uh, in a place that was still emerging, that was still, what was it about? Because the Dubai that we see today was very different from the Dubai that we see in, and what made you not go back in 2008 when the crash happened? So,
So well, I lived in Europe, but I was born in Switzerland, which is part now it's part of Europe. It wasn't really part of Europe then, politically at least. In Switzerland, things move very slowly. Um, so the dynamic I saw here, I thought it was crazy. One of the reasons I told the company who bought me not to open. I told them things are moving too fast here, you know. I was looking to buy an apartment, and by the time the bank would allow me to have a mortgage, the price went up 50% or something like that. I was like, I said, this is not this is not Switzerland. This is the total opposite, you know. It has no trees. People are building houses in a year, skyscrapers in a year. It's completely nuts, you know. And but I also liked it. It was a change from this. I wouldn't say boring Switzerland, but you know, very established Switzerland where the trains arrive on time, where the people are more. So yeah, it was. I said I'll stay here for a while, and then people started to ask me to help them because there was a lack of qualified people in the banking industry, and the head of Credit Suisse and the head of Julius Baer were both friends of mine, and they said, "Can you help? Do you want to work for us?" And I said, "No, no, no. I'm unemployable, but I'm happy to do some projects." And then little projects became big projects, and with the dynamic and the energy Dubai has, it actually was fun. It was fun. I enjoyed it. 2008, believe it or not, after the crisis, 2009, on my executive search level was the best year I ever had.
Mm.
I helped a local bank to develop their private banking, and they hired like 60 people, 18 through us. It was amazing. It was amazing. Again, you know, what the people see in the media and what reality is sometimes is quite disconnected.
Mm. So,
And to continue on your question on why did you stay, what made you stay there, why I'm still here, and it's 19 years. I call Dubai my home now. You know, I went to Switzerland for a month in July, and I missed it. And people say, well, how can you miss, you know, from Switzerland? It's so beautiful and all that. But Dubai has something which I only found in New York and in Hong Kong, you know, where if you, I don't want to compare them with things, but the dynamic and the energy and the, you know, everything is possible. Dubai created something like that. And I think the success of Dubai is underlined by the fact that a lot of countries or cities are trying to copy them.
mm, they started off by copying Singapore, but I think they've gone far ahead in the game at this point of time.
Yeah, yeah. I see what you mean, but if you see when they copied Singapore 20 years ago and what happened in Singapore in 20 years and what happened to Dubai in 20 years, it's quite substantial difference.
Yeah. Even London
It's a,
does not
it's a different model also. It's a different model, but yeah.
So when you said you are not you're unemployable, what was it? The financial security that you already had, or was there a big mind shift that you went through, because of which you realized uh, no one can buy my time?
I actually, when I sold my company in Switzerland, I did a test, you know, like psychosymmetric, symmetric test, etc. And then they told me that I was unemployable. They said you better find something new to do for yourself because you will not fit in an environment where you have a boss and he tells you what to do and how often to do it. Yeah. So I've been on my own since 1994 when I created my asset management company.
Hmm. And you've never had the fear of not making it or anything, right? You've always gone through it. You've always been there right from the start and doing things. I'm thinking from an audience perspective where there are a lot of people who actually feel like they want to start something, they want to do something, but they always have the fear of, what if I fail, what if I don't make money, what if I'm not able to put food on the table. uh,
Well, if fear is definitely something which stops you often in your decisions. But I think my fear not to try was bigger than my fear of failing. And I think failing is also a misconception in the educational system today. When you go to school, you're not supposed to fail. If you fail, you get back bad notes. But it's in failure where you learn the most. So um, the more you fail, the more you grow, funnily enough. So, and if you fail in your own company in your first attempt, you can try again.
yeah, but not a lot of people perhaps believe that, they feel like they don't have the luxury of failing in an organization setting, they don't have the luxury of failing in a corporate setting where they're working for somebody, whereas when you're on your own and you are your own boss and you can do whatever you want, you can easily pivot or you can easily choose another path. Like for example, when COVID hit and you decided to do something completely different, which is ice bath, you explored another side of, uh, very randomly for yourself, and then you realize you can do it for your audience.
Well, you know, in successful people, and success is can be defined in different ways. Success can be by you being happy, or living the life you want, or being rich, or having a lot of followers, or whatever. Success is a matter of definition. And I think when people talk about, oh, he's successful or he's successful, what makes you successful? If you are able to define that, for me, freedom is one of the biggest things in my life. So for me, if I have freedom, I feel successful. The other things, not so important. But to be successful, I think it needs, one thing is passion. You know, if you are passionate about even if you don't know the details of what you're going into, and you don't have a network and you don't have money, if you're passionate, and I'm sure you've met a lot of people who are passionate in what they do, and they have typically something in common, is they're happy.
Hmm.
You know, they say, oh, this guy lives in a small apartment, doesn't have a car, but he looks amazingly happy. And why are you happy? Man, I'm doing what I always wanted to do. And then all the rest becomes irrelevant, or almost irrelevant, or secondary at least.
And a lot of people, I feel, have put themselves into this cage where they feel they're not able to come out of it, that they're not able to do what they really want to do. And for them, when they see people who are able to do it, they're like, oh, you're successful. They don't even think about the finance. So I get what you're saying, and I see that as a very beautiful thing, because each person's lens of success is what makes them categorize somebody else as successful. They might have all the money in the world, but they would still say you're successful because you're doing what you love to do. Or if somebody does not have money, you would say to someone that you're successful because you have all the money which I don't have. So from both sides, right?
Yeah. Comparing yourself to others has never made anybody happy, because you typically compare with people who have more of what you don't have, or they look more successful, whatever, from your definition from the outside, but you never know the full story of people. So comparing is really something I tell people not to do. You should only compare yourself with the person you were yesterday. Okay, and if you are better than you were a year ago, then you're going in the right direction. Uh, if you do every day, every week, every month, you do something to become a better version of yourself, you're successful.
Yeah. You've been doing executive search since 2008, was it? Or 2006, or since the time you came here in Dubai?
Since 2006, yeah. But I was on the other side when I had my business in Switzerland. I was a customer of the executive search. I was in private banking. We had about 20 people, and in banking, people leave and come and go. So we were always on the lookout for talents, and I used executive search people as a customer. And yeah, I did that for like 14, 15 years in Dubai.
And you don't do it anymore.
No.
So, what made you leave something that you chose to do and that you found so much of gratification and financial success, and then pivot? What's making you not do it anymore?
For many reasons, but the market has changed. A few people who used to work with me, who I trained, were hired internally in banks, and they do their recruitment directly for cost cutting. The whole process has become more difficult. The competition increased. So at some point, the you make good money, but you're starting to make less money, and it's becoming more complicated and more hurdles to overcome. And then the fun suddenly is not worth it anymore. And then COVID hit, and it was a blessing because I would probably still be doing it, you know. And so I let myself drive by outside circumstances, and because you couldn't travel, we couldn't organize interviews for people. I said, maybe this is a sign. And because my fun level was a bit down, I told my colleagues that I'll pay them out, and we'll close the shop.
Hmm. You're uh, you're also an executive coach today. You also help and support people.
Yeah.
How do you help someone find their passion and purpose in life?
Yeah, the sad thing is that some people, they don't know that they have a passion, or they think when you're in a dark place, you think everything, there's nothing good in life anymore. Uh, People go from negativity, into direction, depression, anxiety. Is it worth living? What do I do? Why do I have to do that? And so coaching, and you know that probably better than me, is really helping the people to find out what is blocking them. We Very basic things, the wheel of life, to see the people, are they struggling in one particular area of their life? Is it family? Do they feel alone? They have no companion? Have they have they stopped educating themselves? Do they have a social environment? Is it a money issue? Is it health? And then just do like when you go and your car is not working properly, you bring it to the garage. They check it up, and sometimes it's just changing the tires, and then suddenly the car drives really easily. Or change the oil, or do this or do that, or just a wash, and then it looks different. And I think we are very similar to that. We sometimes think, like everything is falling apart and it's hard and all that, and then you if you find a good coach who not cheers you up, but puts a mirror in your face and realize, look, you have all these things which are very unique for you. You're an amazing person, and you're focusing on one thing which is not working, but you have like 5 things which are working extremely well, and 3, 4 which could definitely do better. Why you focus on that one thing which is not working at all? Yeah, just to get the people to realize that their life is not that bad. And when they come out of that very negative, depressed, black, dark place, then you can start talking about a positive future. But when they are down there, it's very hard What's your passion? Oh, I'm not passionate about anything. I don't want to live anymore. That's very hard place to start a positive conversation. So it's to prep it up,
Yeah.
um, make them realize that it's not as bad as they think,
Yeah.
and then yes, but some people don't have a passion. I mean, even after hours and hours of coaching, there are certain things they like, but it's they really not they haven't even thought about what they are passionate about. That's very deep. That's very deep.
And what, in your experience, do you think could be a reason why someone who has gone through life does not have passion?
Well, I think it could be different things, but uh, your upbringing, uh, wanting to please the parents rather than pleasing yourself. um, I have a lot of Indian friends, and it's quite different from my upbringing in Switzerland. I quite like to compare that. And obviously, in when you live in India, it's very different than when you live in Switzerland. But in India, the people, education, and to be good at school or the best at school is so important, And they all want them to be doctors and engineers, typically. And so the kids do that because the parents, they work hard to afford their education. And so as a counterpart to show them respect and make them happy, they do that for the parents. In Switzerland, we actually have one of the lowest number of percentage of people who do university, and a lot of people go into education. How you call that? Like, people become baker, they become carpenter, they become an insurance broker, where you don't need university degrees, but they go and at school at the age of 12, 13, 14, we have a lot of people who come to school and they show the kids what what professions exist. It's not only what your dad does, or your neighbor. There are so many more, and we go through that, and people say, well, I really like the smell of wood. And those people become like carpenters who makes those beautiful chalets in Switzerland, and they seem to be happy, because they do something they like. And it's not the parents, maybe they wanted them to become a lawyer, and now he's only a carpenter. But a good carpenter in Switzerland makes probably more money than a lawyer. You see,
Hmm.
so it's all this conception of things. So I think how you grow up is a big thing. Then I think the educational system. I'm a big fan of Ken Robinson, who passed away a few years back, unfortunately. He was questioning the educational system big time. British guy who finished his life in California. But we are not giving grades at school for dancing, for singing. Some schools give for physical activity, but not all of them. But those are important things as well, like, what if you want to become a ballet dancer? When will you find out the next Picasso if you don't give them the possibility to express themselves during schooling? So the education, I think the social aspect. So what will my neighbor think if my son is opening fuel stations rather than being a banker? So it's the shame of people about what your son or daughter will make as a job, even though they might be very happy in doing that, rather than having a, a highly sophisticated, highly regarded status symbol in society. And I think if you mix all these together, the pressure on an individual of taking his own choice and following his passion has become more difficult.
Hmm. From what you just shared, uh, the thought that hit me was, perhaps growing up all their life, the wrong things were being graded for them. No, they were
Yeah.
not, like you said, they were not graded for the dancing. For myself, in fact, if it was conversations, if I had been graded for the love of my conversations, I have been grading myself on conversations for the last 4 or 5 years and looking to grow on that. And so many things have evolved as a result of me grading myself on that. So uh, when it comes to ice baths, and I'm quite intrigued. I've not yet had that experience yet, but I'm quite intrigued in terms of how does an ice bath play a role in. So my perception of an ice bath is it forces your mind to be present and to forget or to remove any apprehensions, because the force of what is hitting you is so hard. I remember I was in Scotland, and it was December. It was February. It was icy cold. The wind was blowing, which was so intense. And then I went into the sea, uh, completely with no clothes on, and it was like
That's
a
brutal.
thousand needles hitting me. Huh?
That's brutal. It's
Yeah, it
brutal.
was brutal, and I could I think I counted till 20 before I got out of it and ran back and put my clothes on. but but that was an experience that is the closest that I have come to ice baths.
Well, that's a nice pass. I think that can be considered a nice pass. The only difference when we put people in ice baths, we show them techniques that you don't, after 20 seconds, you actually start feeling good. So if you have your flight fight brain working, 10, 15, 20 minutes, pretty much the maximum you can stay, because you get so, you just want to run away, you think you're going to die, and the best thing to do is to run out. But we had few people this morning here who did it for the first time. They all stayed 4 or 5 minutes the first time. It's only the first 20 seconds which are hard.
Hmm. I remember when I went to do Vipassana. So how do you train people into this? How do you train people post the 20 second?
It's all about breathing. It's to be able to control your mind, to control your heartbeat, to control your breathing. uh, you know, your our bodies are very strong. Our bodies can take a lot. Uh, you see people who crash on motorbikes, and you know, you're sure they are dead. You know, they get up, have one finger broken, maybe a leg, etc. But you know, a month later they're back on a motorbike. Our bodies are amazing. We only use very little of what actually the body is capable. You know, we run 5K, we're tired, but our body can run 50K, 100K. It's just we don't want to take that pain. And the body says, stop it, stop it. But we can. I mean, many people have shown that. So in the eyes, even the body doesn't really react. It's again your brain who says, don't do that. Um, it's limiting beliefs we have. Okay, so you the technique is just a breathing technique. So when you do that, some people said, I thought I would die, I had to jump out, and then they stay, and 10 seconds later they smile, and 10 seconds later they talk. I said, shit, man, I thought I would die. You know, that was so strong. Was happening around me. I had no idea where I was. The only thing I had in mind is I'm gonna die. And then you looked in my eyes and you told me to breathe slowly, and I couldn't. And I was trying so hard. And then the third breath, I was a little bit better. And then the one I did, which was 10-second breathe out, then suddenly the world changed and I was comfortable. So our 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 our, 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 our minds are weak. Our bodies are strong. 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 Our bodies
Mm. Tell us a little bit about those. We spoke a little bit before the session started, the two paintings that you have behind, and why you have chosen to keep it as the center of your world right now. Because I think it's not just two images over there or two letters over there. For you, it's so much more than all of that.
I became a breathwork instructor 3 years ago, uh, um, because I was fascinated about some sessions I did. I did some yoga breathwork, pranayama, very deep, emotionally challenging breathing sessions with people. I said, this is amazing. I've never felt like that. And so I wanted to go deeper. So I became a breathwork instructor and learned different ways and techniques of influencing your body at different levels to be more focused, to become fearless, to lower your heartbeat, to hold your breath for 5 6 minutes. You know, all different things you can do with the breathing. So also I realized that nobody has ever taught me how to breathe properly. We didn't do it at school. My parents didn't tell me how to breathe. um, I read a few books about breathing and why people have crooked teeth. It's because of breathing. Why people snore. Why people have stress in their shoulders. It's all related to breathing. So breathing, I think it's a really um, it's a forgotten art. You know? Yoga today, when people go to yoga, they do a lot of exercises on the floor and stretches left and right. But the base of yoga, the basics of yoga, is just breathing. Okay, those movements and doing in a hot environment and staying in positions to stretch, etc. That's very new. It's 100 years old or so. But for thousands of years, yoga was just sitting and breathing. So even even where all this breathing has the roots in yoga is changing, probably not for the better, but just additional things. But the basic of it, the breathing, the proper breathing, the nasal breathing, the mouth breathing, and so many people breathe through their mouth. You go on Kite Beach, and I count the people who breathe through their mouth and the people through nose. You shouldn't breathe through your mouth. The nose is here to breathe. Breathe in and out. And people who breathe through their mouth is unhealthy. It's unfiltered. The humidity of the air is not the right for your lungs, and so the breathing is everything, in my opinion. And if you even listen to some biohackers today, uh, Breca is a new guy who has a podcast now and is on Instagram. He's big followers. He's a biologist. He was in the insurance business. He was able to tell people when they will die within a month. Um, so he's a biohacker with food, etc., and with ice, with cold. But he said the the the, the thing every disease has in common today is a lack of oxygen.
Mm.
You know, a lack of oxygen, no medication needed. Just do some breathing in once or twice a day. And the common factor all diseases have is a lack of oxygen. No pharmaceutical industry is telling you that. No doctor is telling you that. And it's the biggest cause of diseases today.
Even in yoga, what they say is each pose requires a certain breath of either inhale or exhale, and that is what stretches or relaxes the muscle, right? There's something along those lines as well, along with yoga. Each
Yes,
and every move, you get the best outcome of that pose is only when you do the right breath work.
exactly.
So the two words behind you are inhale and exhale.
Yeah, because that's the first thing you do when you're born, and it's the last when you die.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. The connection is breaking. I think your sound has gone out.
are you still
Hello?
here? Hello?
Can't hear you.
Hello?
Yes, you're back now. No,
No,
gone
I
again.
think the first thing you do when you're born is breathe. You inhale, and the last thing you do before you die is exhale. So basically, it's, it's your breath. And the more breathe,
The
properly.
connection, the connection has been disrupted. I'm not able to hear you clearly. It's coming off and on as choppy. Not sure. Not clear. Say again.
I make people
Can't hear you. Do you want to log out and log in again? Yes. So, for those of you who are listeners over here, what are you taking away so far? What is it that you would like to ask Benoya? Is there anything that is on top of your mind? Are you having any takeaways? I see a few of you are here as listeners live right now in this conversation. Oh, he's back. But drop in your
Hello?
questions if you. Yes. Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Good
you hear
now.
me now? Okay, sorry
Yes.
about that.
Yes. So you're going to start firework right now, and you're doing Sadhu board, and I'm
Yeah.
seeing you're doing a lot of work, which really is. So there are a lot of modalities out there. What's making you choose these out of all of the different modalities, of all the different things that is out there, of all the different choices that you have? What's inspiring you to pick these in particular?
Well, if you want to take people out of their comfort zone and crash their limiting beliefs, you probably have to do the most extreme things. Okay. I um, I recently poked my hand with a big needle in a session, um, and I have a phobia of needle. And again, it's to do things you think you cannot in a safe way, and to have something coming out of that. So the needle was a breakthrough. I mean, literally. So you go through the skin, then through the flesh inside, which is quite easy, and then again through the skin. And that's a breakthrough. Do you have any physical advantages to put a needle through your skin? No, of course not. You might get infected. We disinfect it. We make sure that everything is done properly. But it's just a mental thing. Why would I train my body if my mind is weak? You have to train what is the weakest in you, the thing which is holding you back to do things and to live 100% of your life. So we don't have to tackle the body. Maybe we take the body along to show the mind that, look, I can do that. You are blocking me, but I can do that. So we stand on sadhu boards, and your mind says, wow, this is so painful. Probably the needles are going to go through my skin, and I'm going to bleed, and I blah blah. And then I show the people, I jump on it. I said, wow, how could you jump on it? I said, because you can. It's your mind is blocking you. Why walk on fire? Oh, I'm gonna burn my fingers. My mom didn't want me to go on the firewalk. My feet didn't want to go on the firewalk. My head definitely said no. My soul, my heart, everything was against it. Okay, but who is against it? Who has all these thoughts? It's in my head. And I walked on the fire, And it's a big impact it does on you. You suddenly do things 10 minutes before and years before and my whole life before. I said, I'll never walk on fire. This is crazy. And then you do it and you literally become a different person. A person who believes that when somebody asks me to do something, which I am a bit scared of, the first reaction shouldn't be, I can't do that. Maybe I don't want, or how do you do it? What's the benefit? What can I train? Like be a bit more positive on crazy things.
So where does one draw the line? Where does one draw the line and realize that logically, or so what we call, or what one calls limiting belief, another one calls perhaps being logical or being sensible in their opinion, right? And that is a line between what you thought was logical and sensible today, you suddenly start seeing tomorrow is uh, a limiting belief.
So you want to make sure that you don't hurt yourself. Okay, the body can take a lot, but if you jump from a 10-story building, to overcome a fear, that's not going to end very well. Okay, you're probably going to die, or at least have 100 bones broken. So you have to do things which are controllable, which are seen that other people have done, and what other coaches have done before, etc. But you don't want to be stupid, of course not. But you want to do things which are not dangerous, but are things you basically you think, you're trying to find excuses not to do it.
And also perhaps do it in a progressive manner, right?
It can be. I mean, on fire, the progressive doesn't really exist because either it's hot or it's not hot. You can't lower the temperature of fire. We walk
No.
on 650, 700 degrees, but on ice baths you can stay less long. But the problem is only to stay 20 seconds, and after that it's good. So you could do progression, but why do progression if you can do it right away?
Yeah, but whatever is it that you're doing right away, you can always increase it tomorrow, right? When you keep doing it over and over again.
But that you're talking about the physical limitations. That's what the David Goggins does. He said, okay, I stand up this morning and I'm going to run 100 miles. And most people say, are you crazy? Yes, he is crazy. There's no doubt about that. But he runs 100 and he finds joy in it. Okay. And then a week later, he said, if I can do 100 and I felt okay after that, maybe I can do 150. So he's pushing the limits, but on the physical and mental thing, because I don't know where his body will stop at some point, because we all also have physical limitations, but they are, and I like to quote David Goggins on that. He says, when you stop and when you think you are finished, you're not even half. He said, I think he says 40%. When you think you are done, finished, that's 40% of your resources.
Hmm. And that's the role, I believe, where coaches really come into play, right? It's not only for people who uh, are going through trauma or struggle or challenges. Even the successful ones, they feel like this is it, and they're perhaps only reaching 40% of what they're truly capable of.
Yeah. And if we go back to success, when the people say, wow, you're so successful, etc., and then you start believing that, and then says, yeah, I am successful, I've reached this and this. But that's when the coach come in place, says, but could you multiply that by 10? Could you work half the time you're working now and do the same results? Like, no, it's impossible. They need me every day. And then you crash those limiting beliefs, and suddenly the person, does the same, but has 20 hours more time with his family and friends. So those are the limiting, and those are probably the parallels of what we do by crashing limiting beliefs on the physical mental side. and then you take that into the business.
The last time we spoke, you were also mentioning about retreat programs that you're doing. Can you share a little bit about those?
The retreats, we do detox and fasting, because it's known today that fasting is probably the best way to recover your body. If you are sick, it's the best way to recover is fasting. And if you are not sick, it's to make it work 100%, because it's a stressful situation for the body. And then everything starts to work optimally. While when you give food to the body every 3 or 4 times a day, he doesn't have to be efficient. He gets so much more than he needs. He just takes what he needs. But when you put your body in a stressful situation, autophagy kicks in, your immune system kicks in, the growth hormones increase, and your stem cell, you start to create stem cells. I mean, people used to do injections of stem cells of other people, or they keep their when you are born, the cordon, they froze that to have stem cells in case they get cancer or something. You can create own stem cells, and fasting has shown actually for cancer patients that fasting together with other therapies is super powerful. So we do those retreats. We do weekends detox. We do 4 days fasting, 6-day fasting retreats. Again, people say it's impossible for me not to eat for 4 days. How do you know? I need to eat all the time. I said, but you don't eat during the night. Yeah, but I'm sleeping. I said, could you last 1 more hour in the morning? Yeah, of course. 2, yeah, 3, probably 4. He said, look, you're starting to fast, you just acknowledge that you could do fasting. Now it just depends how long, but you can do 12, 13, 14. Lots of people do intermittent fasting now. But fasting, prolonged fasting, can have amazing benefits on your health and your mind.
And during these fasting retreats, do they live an active life or do they live a sedentary uh, life? Because when you
Well,
are active, it consumes energy, and when you consume energy,
you,
then you need to refuel yourself and your body.
you know me by now, so yeah. So when we go and do the 4 or 5 day fasting retreat in the mountain, uh, I won't be able to hike for 2 hours, and then they do 3 hours, and then we do yoga, and then we do meditation, and we do breathing, and they are so busy they forget to eat.
Yeah. Yeah, the connection has
Are you
again
still
become
there?
choppy. Thank.
Yeah, I don't know why it's on and off like that.
All right. Where do people
I have full reception here.
how do people get onto one of these retreats and join you on this? Are these international retreats or are these only provided in UAE? You have one to Nepal, I think, right? You were mentioning something
Oh,
about Nepal.
yeah, yeah, we do the fasting retreats. We do it here in the UAE. We have done a retreat in Musandam, which is Oman, but it's almost UAE. And then we are going to Nepal in October, um, to do a little bit of what we do here in a different environment. So we will do a lot of breathing. We will show the people that they don't have to have altitude sickness if they do the proper breathing. We will do cold showers in Nepal, but also swim in very cold lakes at 4,300 meters, which is it's a sacred lake where Buddhism and Hindus go for pilgrimage. So it has also some spiritual reasons to do that. And we will do meditation with monks and things like that. So it's all quite nice what we do. It's not taking people out of their comfort zone. It's probably more using what we teach people here during the year to make it a pleasureful 4 or 5 days in Nepal.
Hmm. And I think if it is for audiences who have already been through different programs that you have, then a trip like this actually synthesizes everything for them, right?
Yes, yes, that's what it does. Yeah, very much.
It just consolidates everything because now you're also out of your physical comfort zone of being in Dubai, in a job, in a place where you know everyone, you know everything, and then you're actually taking that to the next level in terms of closing the loop sometimes. So if it is really for graduates of uh, don't want to call it graduates, but people who have gone through, experiences with you in different forms and shapes, then yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely. The more you get out of your comfort zone and you do experiences, short experience, long experiences, and your life just becomes easier in many ways. You're stress free. You hike, but you're not with your head in the thing. How long is it? You starting have high up and you're fit and you look around and you enjoy nature and you see everything which is happening around you.
There is a question here from Harish again for you, which says, if the painting depicts inhale and exhale, then why in first painting there is a break in line? Does it mean stoppage of breath?
It's Arabic calligraphy, so I can I can't think. The break is on the exhale, on the exhale. No, there is no breakage on the exhale. On the inhale, if you want if you are a little bit exhausted, you're on a bicycle and or you're running and you want to increase the intake of oxygen, you can actually break the inhale in two by doing and then stop and then a second one. So by you open the valves in your lungs, and it has shown that you can take more oxygen than thing. But again, it's some new things they have found by testing people on how to breathe more efficiently.
What has
Biohackers.
what has been the most profound learning that you have had in your entire journey of the last couple of years since you started breath work and challenging uh, on a personal level, not for other people? In terms of other people, of course, there are so many things that uh, they might have gone through, but for you, what has been the biggest shift in terms of breaking through limiting beliefs and going out there and stretching yourself out of your comfort zone? What has shifted for you?
I think by far the biggest shift is that I do breathing exercise every day, and it has changed my health as well as my stress level and anxiety. It's completely gone. I haven't been sick for 4 years. That is since I started the breathing. So I would really recommend everyone to do some kind of breathing exercise on a daily basis. Invest those 5, 6, 7 minutes, or 10 or more if you want, but do it on a daily basis. Your life will change for the better. It's free. It's only to commit for a few minutes a day, and it's at least to me by far the most powerful change in the last 4 years.
Benoit, I truly believe Dubai is so lucky that you chose this place as home for you. Uh, and if people wanted to find you and come and meet you at your center and do ice baths and go on retreats and do saddle boards, where do they come to? How do they find you? Is there a website, or do they just look up your name? How do they connect with you?
Endorphins.me. is where you find most of the information. Uh, and on Instagram is endorphins method. So those two, endorphins.me and endorphins method on Instagram, are the two places where you find all the information and the contact number. And if anybody has any questions on where to find on YouTube a breathing video, or any questions related to ice baths, to saddle board, to firework, to fasting, feel free to send us a WhatsApp message, and we will be happy to help out if we can.
Beautiful. I am personally looking forward to having, I will not say with you, a cold ice bath under your guidance. Looking forward to having an ice bath experience where, uh, then I did Vipassana also. It was a big shift for me, where in terms of all they said was focus on your breath. And when I said on day 3 I cannot hold this, they said wait, on day 4 you will get a technique and then you will be able to do it. So yes, I know, it's a process, and I look forward to
I
being under your
can't wait
guide.
to have you here. I
All
look
right.
forward to that.
Thank you very much, and I wish you a great
Thank
weekend
you.
ahead. Yeah.
Thank you. All the best.
All
Good
the best.
health.
Good
Bye
health.
bye.
Bye bye.